guys, welcome back. This week's video is about skinning the inside. We're going to do some insulation and some wiring. So without further ado, let's get at it. Alright guys, what I've done is, that's the piece there that we've cut, and now I slipped it through. Now I'm going to tack it on the bottom with some screws, and then we're going to start conforming it to the curve. Alright, let's get this piece in. I'm using 3/4 inch crown staples and a pneumatic staple gun. Now I've marked the studs here on the walls, so I just take an extra spar that I have, throw it up on the mark. You guys don't stand there just in case I do miss. I'd hate to hit you with a staple.
Look, just be careful.
Now the spar does two things. It helps to keep the plywood pushed up against, and it also keeps the staples on the spar, so you're not missing. Number one, we're not worried about the gaps here on the side, because once you get the insulation, the outside skin on it, you'll never see it. You can hide it with a rope or a trim or whatever you can get to go in there, even caulk it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is is I'm going to make this wall twice as thick, so I got to make an insert for in between the spars. And the way I do that, we're going to start with the first bend. This is just a scrap I cut out from the door. It's the same thickness as a wall, so that'll give me 1.5 inches instead of 3/4. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and trace this whole radius right here. Make sure it's good and dark so you can see it. Okay, you can go like that. Now I'm going to take this over to the bandsaw and I'm going to cut that. Alright, well I cut that out on a bandsaw and it's back over here, so I put it back on. You just match up the same contour. Okay, now I gotta find this tool I made. Okay, what I did here is I put together just some scrap wood. That's 1.5 inches apart because, you know, this is 1.5 inches thickness now. And what I'm going to do with this, because like I said, we're making fillers and it needs to be 1.5 inches, and these angles need to be right, or as close as you can, or as tight as you can, to get it to fit right. So pencil. So now what I do is I take this block and I put it on and hold it up real tight against this flat area. Okay, paying attention that this surface here is the one that's resting on the surface. So then I take that and transfer that to the back. Then you do the same up here, paying attention that this line, this surface now, is, and you just keep going up. Okay, so now let me remove this and I'll show you what it's done. So now, all these X's are your spars. Now all these angles are going to be perfect when you make this filler strip. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that here for a sec. Let me grab my square. And I use an old school slide square for this reason, because it just makes this a lot easier. Take this and set it to 1.5 inches, because that's how thick we need it, right? Set that to 1.5 inches, tighten it down. Now I'm going to take my pencil, and you're just going to right on down. Now you can take it to the bandsaw, you cut on that line, and you cut on these lines. You can even label 1, 2, 3. This is going to be 1, 2, 3. Okay, you take it back to the bandsaw and you cut all that out, remove the X's. They're marked, so number 1 should go right here. It should fit perfectly. Now, if you took the time to make sure that your spars are equal distance on each side, make 2 of those, and that should fit both sides now. So, you make 1, then you can make an exact duplicate of that. You won't have to go through that on that side. Make an exact duplicate, and it should transfer over to the other side. You might need to trim and tweak the edges a little bit, but for the most part, it should work. I'm going to go ahead and cut these 3 out, and then I'll duplicate 1. Or actually, I'm not going to duplicate. I'll cut these 3 out, and then we'll see if number 1 here will fit on number 1 on that side. And if it don't, then we'll see what kind of adjustments we have to make from there. So I'll go do that on the bandsaw. Again, you don't need to see that. You can use a jigsaw too if you're good with the cuts. Bandsaw is more control for me, so that's what I use. Alright, got them all cut out. You see there, that's the result, see number 1. And it goes. Fits perfect. And you take it to the other side. Fits that one too. So Now I'm going to take all three of these off. They all fit, 1, 2, and 3. They all fit on the other side, so now I'm just going to take them off of here. I'm going to mark them out on the same piece of wood, and I'm going to cut 3 more, and then we've got that done. Now for the straight pieces, I just take a piece of the spar material, and I cut it down to fit that, and I just pop it in there. Now you can do screws and glue, or screws and nails, or whatever you want to do. I like to just, because it's not really structural, I'm just going to glue it and clamp it and let it dry. Alright, well I'm going to go cut them, and we'll get on to, I think we're going to start electrical next. Okay, well now we've got all the skin on, as you can see. Everything's done. We got the filler blocks in. I'm going to turn you around and let you see. Here's some filler blocks. See how we doubled everything? Showed you how to do that in the last section. So now I'm going to set you up here. We're going to run some wiring. You're just going to take this. You're going to feed it through the holes. Now make sure you have plenty of slack to do so. Now I'll grab it from there and feed it on down to the front. So we've got one 12-volt going in the front wall. We have a light, the Fantastic fan, and then the galley stuff. So we're only going to run the stuff that's for the cabin. It should roll. It should do okay. Okay. It should. Just going to pop that through. Then when you pop that through, now we're going to run the hot wire. I use green for ground, red for hot, so you can never get them confused. Now on to the next one.
Do I need to move to the other side?
No, what you're going to do this time is you're gonna, there's a hole right there in the ceiling for your ceiling light. Right here, on this side of that spot. Yep,
here?
Yep, you're going to
Okay.
take it, that's where we're going with this run.
Alrighty.
If anybody's wondering why Cricket is all dressed up looking like Heidi from Tool Time, we have a running joke going on during this build. That I've been called Tim the Toolman Taylor a few times, and for all you guys that are too young to know what Home Improvement is, the TV show, the old TV series, all you younger guys, you might want to look that up. It's a pretty good show.
Yeah, I'm gonna, I got a ship, yeah. Oh.
So we had Donald here helping yesterday, and we dubbed him Al Borland. So she decided to go and she decided to buy a flannel and some coveralls and do the part today, put her hair in. So if you guys are wondering, we're having a lot of fun building. So
That's right, Tim.
I don't think so, Tim.
I don't think so, Tim.
I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but I marked each one, each cavity, 1, 2, 3, 4, so I can keep track. Yes, we'll be adding wire loom to this before we close everything up. As you can see, that process has already started up top, adding the loom to it. So we will be doing that before we install the insulation. But then I just take measurements of one at a time. I do all the flats first, because the way I double these up on the edge, I use what I have left over with my spars to fill in the straight spots, and then I make them out of plywood for the radiuses. So there's going to be 2 different widths to cut them at. So I do all the straight ones first. So what I do is I go ahead and get the width first, and then we do the height. And then I transfer all that, and I know this is going to be really hard for you guys to see because the sun's shining and it's going to be a glare. Hopefully you can see some lines on this insulation. I always do it on the foil side just because it's easier to see. There you go, now you can see. See, that's The third section, I put a K there so I know I need to kerf cut that. And there's section 10, section 7, section 2, section 1 over there on the end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to this line first and remove all the stuff that's back here. And then I'm going to, while this is all one piece, I'm going to kerf cut the one that I need out of this, because it's easier to control a full-size board than it is to control one that's 10 or 12 inches wide. I use a circular saw. I set the depth to about half the thickness of the insulation, and I just zip some relief cuts in the back so it'll bend real nice, and you'll see how well it fits when we get this all done. So I'm going to set up to where you can watch the kerf cut, and then we'll cut everything else and get it installed, and I'll bring you back. All right, so I got the the circular saw set to half the depth of the insulation. It's in a big chunk, so it'll be easier to handle and maintain. So now I'm just gonna, I only need it on this one piece. The rest of those are flat. So now I'm just gonna run a bunch of lines down the center here, and I'll show you what that does. Real easy and come this way, Heidi. All right, now we still gotta mark and for the wire and put the loom on. The way that's gonna work, now watch. This now will bend. Okay? See, just removing that material makes it bend. How in the world did I get that wrong? Did I put the wrong one?
Is that 7?
It's supposed to be 3. Oh, folks, I screwed up. That's something most people don't show you, is the screw-ups. Oh, damn, that sucks. Can't even show you how it fits in. Okay, what happened was it busted at the kerf. So, be careful not to do that. You can cut through a little bit more, which is really no big deal. We're just going to kind of piece this in, but we're going to recut it. But this will still allow me to give you the example. Actually, if you don't break it in the kerf, it'll fit in there, as you can see, pretty smoothly. We're going to replace this one, but that gives you an idea. Okay, so as you can see, we got the rest of the front done. Now we're back here. Yes, we added loom, so everything's good. I marked the spars, as you can see, with some marks so I know where the wiring is. And then I pull the insulation over the top. Where's that? And then I'll take and mark where it is on the styrofoam. You must have marked it when you were doing the other ones.
Oh yeah, because I figured, yep.
Okay,
For video
so
purposes.
that's how we do it. And then what we're going to do now, can you go grab the level, please? We're going to transfer those marks to the top, which is, I always put the shiny side down. So, okay, so now we've transferred the marks up to here, so, and we know it's a Y shape. So now what I do is I'll just take a level, and it's not for level purposes, it's just, okay, do the same thing on this side. And then we're going to take it over over there, and we're going to cut that out. So I've got the marks that we just made on top. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn it on and go halfway through on the lines we marked. Okay, so it's all cut out, and we're going to drop it in. And that's how you do it. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you learned something from this video. The next video is going to be skinning the outside. So we're going to try to do that one midweek. We'll see how that turns out. Otherwise, it'll be next Sunday. So until the next episode, build on.